Hi, Selena. We're going to take a look at your emphasis posting. I could not find your rule of thirds or rhythm posting. I don't know if you had trouble posting those or if those just kind of got away from me or whatnot. Just let me know. Contact me about those. Let me know what's going on with those so that we can get those taken care of for you. So let's go ahead and screen share here, and we'll get started looking at your emphasis. Here, I have it kind of queued up and ready to go. So what I do first is I kind of look at an overview of whether you are sort of following the prescribed instructions for the project itself. And that is for this particular project where we started off from a particular distance, we chose a structure, and then we started to move in by cutting the distance in half each time and moving in and then moving in and moving in. So what we should get is a progressive sort of feeling that we're closing in on a space. And by closing in on it, we're getting more and more specific about what we're looking at. So it's not arbitrary that we decided that we're going to do this sort of closing in, this sort of emphasis thing, because it's a point of view. It's establishing the way in which you view and the way in which you break down the space and present it. The other idea is that you have these prompts, these 1 word, 2 words, 3 word sort of prompts, like as I see it, or portrait of a structure, or sometimes 1 word like texture or color or line. Those are all formal things. How are you dealing with them? Which are you more comfortable with? Are you more comfortable with this very formal prompts, or how did you deal with something that is sort of more objective or subjective, where you can interpret it the way you want? As I see it is pretty much as subjective as you could possibly get. So I see here that you kind of stacked them in reverse. So you had the environment down at the bottom. So we're going to kind of go from the bottom. That way we can kind of establish whether we're feeling that zoom in or zoom out there. So in the environment here, you are kind of backed up kind of a bit. I think you might have been able to back up a little bit more to establish more of the environment. I see some stuff back here. I see the car or the truck, but I would have liked to have seen the entire environment. In the environment, I think we could have seen just how big this place is, what kind of things are around it. That would have helped with the establishing shot. Here's almost where you see more of the structure than you do here. So I think you could have been farther away on the first shot. Now here's the portrait of the structure. And for some reason, you're totally bright. I mean, the sky looks pretty bright out there, but this one looks a little out of focus. I don't know if your camera has manual focus and you forgot to focus or something, but something looks sort of off here as far as the focus. But anyway, being a portrait of the building, you've got basically a picture of the building. We're not really taking advantage of composition here, though. And that's just an observation. I'm looking at it and thinking, okay, how is she dealing with organizing elements on this square, right? You've got a square in front of you and you're moving the camera around and positioning things in front of it. So how are you doing that? You've got this line positioned right here with these little things there. Now, if we were drawing, right, this is a blank piece of paper, and you are going to be doing a drawing of this building, would this be where you stood? And would you be cutting the roof off where you trimmed it right here? Or would you be including these sort of random fragments of cars back here? Or would you be including this half a billboard over here? It's stuff like that that we want to pay very close attention to in photography, because it's the reverse. We don't include them, we have to get rid of them. So photography being reductive means that we start off with the whole world and then we slowly get closer and closer, or we slowly remove stuff by positioning our camera in such a way that we don't see things. So we don't see the other side of this car, so it doesn't exist to us. So this car isn't really doing anything to contribute to the composition. So we would have been better off to not even have it and move the camera so that it ended here. And then the same thing over here. This isn't really doing anything for us compositionally. So it would have been better off had we gone in a different direction there compositionally. Now, here we are progressively getting closer, and it looks like we're drawing into a straight line. So I can see the path here. You started here, then we kind of came around to the front of the building. So it's almost like we started close, then got far away. Now we're back to close again. So it looks like we're at the original spot from here. So there's here, we backed up, and now we're close again. So not quite getting the idea of far away and progressively getting in very close. It's a very simple idea where you're out here and you're doing a circle of photographs, and then you come in and doing a circle of photographs, and so on. Also, you're just in one spot. You're not moving around the building at all. Not yet, anyway. I haven't seen you doing it. But anyway, this is much better, though, in terms of organizing the space, right? Because this is being cut off. It's a lot more critical of the things that are in front of your camera. Again, it's kind of out of focus. There's something going on. Maybe I need to take a look at your camera and help you out there, because this is not in focus. And it should be able to be in focus with this amount of light. So it's something to do with the focus of your camera, not movement, camera movement or anything. But this over here, again, this over here, this spot, that's not necessary. If you were doing a drawing, you wouldn't include just up in the corner this little bit of sketch right up here. You just wouldn't have that. Cropping that off would have given you a better sense of the lines that you're trying to emphasize here. You're trying to emphasize this stuff. So this over here doesn't really help you at all. And that's that kind of stuff that you want to pay close attention to. So now we're getting into some of the other formal sort of treatments here. So you have the line, and then we get into shape, and then we get into color, which is basically the same photograph. So when we look at images like this, gosh, my mouse is going all over the place. When we look at images like this and this, both of which are out of focus again, definitely we need to look at your camera here because these are out of focus. So when we look at two photographs next to each other like this, if I were to write a sentence down and I said, the red dog lays still, the burgundy dog lays still, the red dog lays still, burgundy dog lays still, right? And I considered those to be two sentences in a paragraph, right? I'm writing a paragraph and I wrote, the red dog stays still, the burgundy dog stays still. You would be like, well, wait, is it the same dog? I'm confused. Are those two different dogs or is it the same dog? Because red and burgundy are kind of the same thing. That's kind of what you're doing with this. The red dog, the burgundy dog. We're confused. What if these aren't two different photographs? They're not considered two different photographs at all. Your emphasis hasn't changed from one to the other. So when you're doing these kinds of exercises, be sure, first of all, that you're following the instructions, that we wanted you to move around the building and kind of explore. This wasn't a linear thing. You weren't meant to just walk in a line very close to the building. Now, I hope this wasn't like a dangerous place and that you had to hurry up and do this, because it looks like you got out of the car, you took a photograph, and then you ran up to the door. I hope that wasn't what you did and you were in trouble. But anyway, we'll go to this next one here, where you're a little bit closer still, which is good. You're at least now you're getting progressively closer. But I hope you understand these two are not two photographs. They're the same photograph. And we want two different photographs to occupy for shape and for color, because they're not, this one I could see color, but this shape you could do a better job with as well. So light. I think for light, that there are a lot of other possibilities within your environment that we could have explored here, because this really is, I'm not getting variation of light. I don't see shadows and stuff like that. Of course, it's out of focus. We'll fix that. This is more, I think, would you agree, maybe more texture? I think more texture on this one than light. If I were to say, and I didn't know what you were emphasizing here, I would say it's texture, not necessarily light. And so if you're hoping that I'm getting light out of this, I think maybe we're off on that one. Shadow, again, we're not really getting a whole lot of the idea of shadow. We've got a reflection over here from the sun. It just looks like you didn't have a whole lot of time. This is more like shadow. Maybe I've got them backwards. Let me just make sure that you're not labeling them from the top. No, you're not. You're labeling from the bottom. So this one's more like shadow. Yeah, I mean, it just looks like you didn't really have a whole lot of time to devote to these. The sun's moving a little bit, but it really, you're on one side of the building. You're not really able to move around. Maybe you just kind of ran out of time and you had to put something together, which I appreciate you kind of needing to get it together and turn something in. That's cool. You got to be able to do that. But, this is pretty much a 2-minute walk getting close to the building, another photograph, turn to the side, come over here, take another shot and get real close and take a shot. I mean, that's all of maybe 120 seconds worth of photograph. Not that it is, but your photography deserves more time. And if you were crunched on time and you weren't able to explore and you weren't able to really put everything into it that you can put into it, that would be unfortunate. And I would want you to be able to do more than that for your work, which is exactly why that's exactly why we have the resubmissions to put in, because everybody has a hard time with a project, or during the week they have a hard time. I had a hard time, 2 weeks ago where I was out of commission and you have to recover and all that kind of stuff. So I understand all of that. So if this first one got in your way, and I haven't seen the other two, if you're having trouble with the class, let's have a chat. In fact, I may just send you a message, and maybe we need to sit down or something like that to figure out what's going on, because I don't want you to drop the ball on the class. I do want you to recover and do a good job. I'm sure you want to do a good job and do well. So let's figure out what's going on with it. And I don't want to freak you out. You have plenty of you can recover from this. This is not the end of the world. You can certainly resubmit this project, but I would definitely encourage you to resubmit this project, because I think you'll do a lot better the second time with just even this information, but with the perspective of having done it already, to be able to come back to it with a little bit more information. So I do appreciate the that you put it together. I would just try to carve out more time for yourself so that you can really explore and spend some time and pay close attention to details. Let's look at that camera though pretty soon. I know we're not meeting formally together on Monday, but let's try to meet sometime before you start shooting again, to take a look at your camera to see what's going on, to see if there's something that we're overlooking as far as being able to focus, because those are out of focus photographs, and they shouldn't be out of focus if you have autofocus on. And if you're on manual focus somehow and you're forgetting to focus, I'll help you with figuring out how you do that. It should be pretty straightforward, and I can help you do that. So, all right, well, let's get in touch and figure out the camera, and also talk about the other postings and what's going on with that. So we'll see you in class. All right, bye-bye now.